And welcome back to BMRL Network. And we are live one more time for the truck series here at Charlotte Motor Speedway for 117 laps of racing. It has been the last two races quite interesting in that truck series and quite added to the spice. We're going to begin for another one here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, of course. Just beginning, we are with 20 degrees Celsius temperature, about 15 kilometers winds, and just having a look at the track as well, just the track map of the oval itself. Last race we had at Las Vegas, to pick it up from there here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, of course. It's going to be 3 stages, just like any oval race, 35 laps, then it's going to go to 70, then to 117. So it's quite similar to what happened last week, but it's going to be there, all of it. We're going to be picking it up. So we're just now waiting on for the drivers to get going into the qualifying session and give us a bit of driving, but there is already the grid set up. Meanwhile, Barker is ahead of everyone. Then it's Austin Hinn in second place, completing out that front row. Then it's Kyle Peacock in third, with Stephen Hinds in fourth, with Flips in fifth, and Adam Gardner completing the top 6. Then it's Riley in seventh, and Sean Cross in eighth. Then comes quite a difficult name to say, but there you go, the car 69, and then comes Chris Cornett in completing out that top 10. Then it's Stephen Shu, the 00, and Robert Denton completing out the top 12. The cars are ready. Everybody's just getting ready, preparing out to get going behind the pace car to give us a start here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It could get tricky around here sometimes when you're going from the simple road and then onto the banking, going into left-enders. At least in the previous generation trucks it was. Depends how the current the generation they are driving goes around here. But just waiting on everyone gets going for the rolling start. It will be interesting to see what the likes of Chris Cornett, Adam Gardner, and everyone around is able to do, because we're just picking up on what everyone's able to do around here. And of course, they've done what they could at the previous races, but this is where it's going to count. Charlotte Motor Speedway to make it to the interest. Of course, it was none other than Kyle Peacock winning the previous race at Las Vegas, and it was Kevin Minker winning the one at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the one before that, and then it was Chris Cornett winning the first race of the season at Daytona International Speedway. So it's really going to be interesting to see what he's able to do. He's inside that top 10, so it's going to be very interesting to see Kyle Peacock, Adam Gardner, Chris Cornett, or anybody at the top of the timings could do it, because Barker could well have a chance as well. Meanwhile, the pace car comes in, and that's gonna be green as they just go across that line now. Just waiting on to cross that line, and it'll go green straight away for everyone to get going. As we start now here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, it's going to be Barker on the inside line, Hund on the outside line. The 15 that had a great race last time around, but then ended up getting out of after colliding with one of the cars. Meanwhile, Austin Hund now switches to the outside line. So does Barker. Meanwhile, the number 1 of Kyle Peacock on the inside line should be going at it straight away, and that is going to be a bit of a thing to do as he's on the inside line. Meanwhile, Barker ahead of everyone, almost the car length ahead, and in the middle of the track trying to defend from both the cars on the inside and on the outside. Stephen Hinn, the number 20, going into his cockpit. Meanwhile, Peacock on the inside line, but Hund on the outside. So does Ryan Phil Briggs, or who that is in that number 6 car. Through he goes, and that's going to be him moving up from outside to the inside as well, and a overtake comes up. It is Flips, in fact, in that number 6 car, and he makes it a move on the inside line ahead of Kyle Peacock. But is he going to find a way through to Austin Hund as well? He's trying it. So is Stephen Hinds trying as well. He's going to switch to the inside line. He's going to stay there. Meanwhile, Peacock switches to the low line and moves up to defend and forces the number 20 to go to the high line. And it'll be interesting to see Who comes out on top? The one on high comes out, the one on the inside line, all on the outside line. Could be interesting. It's going both of them. The inside one doesn't quite have the speed to defend it. On the outside, going to be the number 20 going through it, but not quite enough. Is he gonna have it enough to move up and move it in one place? The single file, all three top 4 or 5 cars going single file. Meanwhile, Graham has kept these drivers at the back of the grid as well. The 00 Stephen Shu, he's just ahead of Chris Cornett. Chris Cornett, of course, a Daytona winner here in the Truck Series, is trying to pick up the speed back. Is he going to be able to do that as he just moves to the inside line? But is he going to be able to get through, get going through? Not quite so far. We're already on lap 5 out of 171, but lap 5 out of 35, of course, is going to be at the end of the stage. We've had in the previous 2 races, and on the previous week's race, that we had 2 drivers, one driver win the first 2 stages and then not win out, maximize on that race victory. So whoever's at the top would like to be at the top for the entirety of the race. Meanwhile, Barker finds it very easy ahead of everyone, still finds it very easy for him though. Everyone behind just making their way through, very close to the walls, just trying to stay away. One touch up to the wall, it's going to ruin it all. But meanwhile, Austin is very close now to Barker. There is Austin going to switch to the inside line. He already has switched, he already has went low. Is the number 6 going to go high? Austin switches back to the high, then he has to there. He would have been very far away. Maybe the inside line wouldn't have supported him as much as he would have wanted. So it's going to be interesting. Stephen Hinds is not far away as well, so isn't Kyle Peacock. The top 5 of this race are going to go. Meanwhile, around the outside, it's going to be Kyle Peacock. Send it one, and he's going to make a move. Austin's going to fall behind back massively. He's going to lose a lot of positions. Austin Hund is going to lose a lot, but Kyle Peacock makes it all. Is he leading? We have to see, is he leading? He might not be. He's 2 cars behind, 1 car behind Barker, but we'll see what he's going to be able to do. This first stage has been full of events, overtakes, and interesting movements. These 8 laps have been interesting for the race leaders. Barker has been able to keep it, so has been Stephen Hinds, currently in 2nd place. He's moved up massively. Meanwhile, the 00 we're seeing make a move. Is there a wreck coming up here? So this is exactly what happened to Austin Hund then. He was just ahead of the number 6 car and he went into him. That is some interesting thing to see. He just had, and that was the reason he fall behind and he went far back of the grid. He will have to do a lot more hard work now to get back to the top one more time. He'll have to see what he can do. Quite big of a struggle this could well be for him. Meanwhile, just once again we are in that cockpit view of one of the cars inside that top, and it's Kyle Peacock just making his way just right behind the number 6 car of Licensor should be. Really making it smooth, nicely does it to the inside. He stays low though, just thought of making it through, but the number 20 comes back at him as well. Down to high to low, it's quite interesting and intense there. Meanwhile, he would have to be there, the outside, if at the moment Hinds come in, he might make a contact. They don't though. The 20 stays to the outside line, he's committed, but Kyle Peacock makes it through and moves himself up into 2nd place, and now he could well be thinking up to go after the leader, but only if the number 20 is going to leave him. Not quite easy though. Meanwhile, Peacock has went for it almost, as Barker so far stands tall and ahead of everyone, not quite letting anybody behind get through. And for a moment there, Phillips thought for it, but not quite going in there. Meanwhile, Barker still there now. Peacock more than trying to overtake Barker there. He'll have to defend from the 20 of Hinds, and it'll be interesting to see though, because Peacock, the number 1 car, he won't finish number 1 at the end of last Truck Series race, but we'll see what is everybody going to be doing, and especially Kyle Peacock. Is he looking to make it 2 in a row? Sure, he would be wanting to, but a lot of the times we've seen drivers at the top in the first 2 stages, not quite at the end of it. Meanwhile, the 00 on the outside of the 69 is going to go for it, and Thomas is not quite going to be there. Tom just falls back of the 00, and he's got the car behind now as well. I think That's the 56 of Adam Gardiner, and the one behind him is going to be Austin Hun, who felt massively behind after that touch from the number 6 car, and he's been finding it hard. He's been struggling to get back and get themselves back at the top of it though, but we'll see. What is it going to be now? Between the two, Austin Hun would be looking to get back to the top and pick up all the speed that he needs. Sure, with at least about 20 laps to the end of this stage, 20 laps to the end of that first stage. We're on lap 14, so a little bit more than that as well. So he's got all the ground to make. He's got many cars ahead of him before he could get to that top 5, top 4, which he was earlier running in. But this could well be a struggle, but we'll see. Meanwhile, the 69 goes very, very wide. Through goes Adam Gardiner. Austin Hun's going to find his way as well. Or is 69, is Tom, has been able to defend it really nicely. Austin Hun has been through on the inside. We'll see what he's going to be doing, though, as we just have a rear bumper view of Adam Gardiner. Meanwhile, both are going to come at him, but just stays ahead, does Adam Gardiner. One car ahead. There has been a fight as well. There is. Meanwhile, that orange car would be interesting to see what his number is, but this is somewhat of interesting. Meanwhile, on the inside goes Austin Hund and gets ahead of those guys. Meanwhile, the top 3 are out in their race, but number 6 and the other car on the inside of them are going at it as well. On the inside goes, and he's going to make a move on Phillips there and move himself up into 4th place. Would be interesting. So that is Riley. That was Riley, the number 17. And meanwhile, Kyle Peacock has made the move for that race lead and gets it all and gets ahead of everyone there. He makes one count. Meanwhile, the one behind could try and do it as well, the number 20. But Barker has been able to defend. He wasn't able to defend from Kyle Peacock, and he just got through him. And Peacock now trying to make it 2 in a row. He's on the roll. Barker could well be struggling. We thought that he's good at defending. He was for most part of this race, but not quite enough at this point in time. Of course, in over racing, most of the time we see there's changes for the lead. There's changes, many passes for the lead. Meanwhile, at the back of the grid, we have in this fight between Chris Cornett and Chris Stace to the outside, and Gerald, the number 99 car, the green truck, staying to the inside. Chris Cornett hasn't been able to quite pick it up since that first race victory. Let it be the truck series or any other series. He's been quite at the back of it, struggling to pick up his form where he started the season. He sure would be looking to do that, and sure one glimpse of that he shows us as he goes on the outside of not 1 but 2 cars out there. There is the 73 in the middle of it, and he's going to make a move on one of them, but 2 of them now. That is Chris Cornett for you. Makes not 1 but 2 overtakes around the outside. Lap 19 of 117, and Chris Cornett makes it up a few moves, but now he would need to not only keep this move up and keep this position to himself, but then try and catch up to the driver back ahead as well, try and get back to the top. So there are a few drivers who just says out. Are they on an out lap or out of the race? That'll be interesting in fact to know, but we'll see. There is one of the drivers into the pits already, and that is Sean Cross. As Sean Cross heads into the pits, the 83. As far as I remember at Las Vegas, he had many incidents to be involved in, but I'm sure he would be looking to stay away from those as he pits in. He might need some fuel. Maybe he's clipped up the wall, which we haven't seen he needs, but that wasn't anything. But that would have been just a little bit of fuel, even if needed so, because tires would have even taken a little bit more time as well. And I don't think you would need tires with just 20 laps being done, the first ones. And that is going to be now Riley having to defend on the outside. He's been able to do that of that number 20. The top 2 are putting away from the rest of the drivers, but it'll be interesting to see because they're still close enough. In one movement they're moving away, in the other they get close. So this is quite, nobody can't quite be certain if they're going to keep it or have a go at those. Meanwhile, Barker now on the outside is going to try and make one though. He's thinking to make the move, he's thinking to do it, but he can't quite do it at this point in time at the moment. 46 is going to switch from high to low, but it's going to be interesting from outside to the inside as he's going to go through him, but is Peacock going to be able to hold him off from the cockpit view we've seen? We just see in the front of the Peacock's car. This could be very, very close between the two. They just come out of it without a touch. and any contact being made. There was just a little bit of steering movement, a little bit from Kyle Peacock, and he was going to be straight into Barker, and both of their race could have been a disaster. So would have been Barker's case as well. Had he moved a little bit, and there's a caution. Something has happened at this point in time, or any wrecks that we did not see. There is a caution. And it is Jamie Prevost, one of them, involved in that. Let's see if we are finding any replay of that, but that is, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what happened. Jamie Prevost, focus on the 73 there as he switches in, and that is, he just puts it in there as he goes in. Everybody behind and right around him, quite lucky to not be involved, but that is going to cause the first caution in this first stage before the end of it. So simply, he was driving in there. He was pretty much holding his line, but the one on the inside line, obviously track was running out on the inside, so had to move up back to the outside, and sends one him and gets him to the wall. But I think it doesn't look much damaged though. He might just be able to repair and come back out on the circuit. Ooh, that was very close. I mean, just quite hard. These are the judgment errors. Just 1 millimeter of judgment error, and that is exactly what happens to you simply. But I think he's got the rear of his car going into the wall. The front would be fine. Hopefully the aerodynamic won't be much infected. But at this point, as it looks like, so the car on the inside holding its line, Prevost just went into him. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this incident? But this is... at least by the look of it, the race has been very, very close, and I think we'll see how it's going to be going on. Meanwhile, we got some drivers wishing for their teams, and that was then Jamie Prevost. He was simply driving. He was just staying to his line and then just got tagged in, but that's exactly what it happens, you know, when you're just making a single judgment error, and that then ends up ruining yours, but then the one around you's race as well. Meanwhile, the pace car is out, and it stays around. So the drivers who would need some fuel or maybe damage repairs, most of them would head into the pits and get a few of those. You know, Kyle Peacock at the back of the grid as well. Now, are we going to see everybody almost head pit road and get out? Kyle Peacock into the pits, followed up by Austin Hinds and Stephen Hinds as well. And we'll see the number 20, 15, and number 1. Everybody around. Heading into the pits, just getting those fuel, and maybe if they think that it's worth getting the new tires, they might do that as well, because of course a new tire is better than the old one as long as it stays. But it's quite unusual. It won't be usual for any of these drivers to take the tires before the end of this first stage, or somewhere around that first stage. So at the moment, nobody looks like to be having taken the tires then. It's everyone on their starting tires. Meanwhile, Barker still staying ahead of everyone. He hasn't pitted then. Barker hasn't pitted. Meanwhile, our leader Kyle Peacock at the back of the grid and involved in those guys. He'll have to be very, very careful, because he knows he has the speed, performance and pace to get closer to the leaders and win it 2 in a row. And sometimes in that mid-pack, incidents happen unwantingly, unwishingly, but he would not be wanting that, I'm sure. He would try everything to stay around, but that's not exactly what happens all the times. You try and take care of it, but somebody around you doesn't. Exactly what happened in Jamie Prevost's incident, which causes caution. Meanwhile, the lights for the pace car are out, so it's going to be coming in any time soon now, and we're going to have the restart get going. Of course, the first caution. Meanwhile, Riley on the outside of Barker now. Number 6 of Flips as well. And then, of course, Shu. We'll see everybody around. Gardner as well. Sibley. Everyone. We're on board with Adam Gardner now, and we'll see what he's going to do, what everybody around is going to do. Of course, in that cockpit, the pace car is in. We're going to see Adam on the inside line of the 00. He's going to send it through, and there is an incident already as we go green. It's going to get back to yellow now. We were watching from Adam's cockpit view, but that is going to be Barker involved, and that is one more incident, and more incidents and caution make their way through as we just go green. And this is exactly what happened. Maybe not one at the back of the grid, but at the front, only the two drivers to navigate against each other have collided. And this is what happened between Barker. Oh, that was maybe Barker attacked from behind there. And there's more incident at the back of it as well. The 00 spins around as well. Just a restart that doesn't always go right, or doesn't quite go in the best way possible, and that happens around as well. Let's have a look at it one more time. It flips the number 6. Remember, Austin Hund earlier got tagged out by that number 6 as well. He can't quite get his judgments right. He's been bumping cars earlier on, and he does it one more time, and Barker got nothing to do in that. He first bumps him, then when Barker's about to spin, he pushes him through. Meanwhile, the incidents at the back, there's Chris Mayo and a few cars the other way, very close for Chris Cornett to just take the assertive action, and away from on the grass he goes, just trying to stay away, take action, and that instantly caused that yellow flag as well. That was close, and this could well be coming up somewhat of an interest in the race, which you sure earlier had switch for positions, overtakes, and everything going on. But this is going to add the spice on top of it. Let's have a look at that. Chris Mayo being one of those involved as well, and that was him. No, that wasn't him, but did he bump the 00? And because he was close right behind as well. It'll be interesting to see with the replays coming up. Let's have a look at it one more time. So Chris Mayo then coming up, going to the inside of that number 3, going through it, but this is, let's have a look at it, what happened then. There you go, Chris Mayo. Let's have a look at it from his cockpit view. Did he bump into one of those? So he's simply driving the number 7 car, and that was him being involved in there, but the one on the inside left no room, and Chris goes into the wall as well. Not much he could have done, and he was just there in between and had to go how it took him, but that's a massive hit for him as well. He might need some damage repairs, maybe able to go through, but would want to get some repairs. And now Corey Sibley into the pits. He was involved in one of those as well. Might need some damage repairs and just go in there and to do any repairs that are required. Sure, it might be time consuming, but we'll see how it's all going to be out there. Meanwhile, the number 4, Dustin Bloodworth around there between those cars as well. He's involved. Everybody almost being involved. Only a few lucky ones that haven't been involved in these incidents. But there has been many. Not many, but at least few of those. And this is what broke fire. This is what started everything. The push from the number 6 of Phillips into Barker. And then, of course, that unstabled his car. But let's see what happened, though, because, sure, Barker was spinning, but they were far away from the... Oh, so that was the 00. 00 going into the wall on his own. The one that happened at the back of it. That was interesting to see how it's all going to be out there. Meanwhile, the rest of them being involved. Just William was there touching one of the cars as well. Ricky Riley about to lead us to green, then he stayed away from any of those problems, and he stayed ahead. Meanwhile, the number 6 is still out there. Adam Gardner needs to be very careful. They came very close one more time to incidents and disaster, but that was going to be very close, but just finds it away. Meanwhile, Barker must have had to pit and fall back at the grid. Meanwhile, on the inside is going to be Barker. He's going to have one on the inside. Oh, number 6 there. They're staying very, very close. He's not giving up as well. So is in Austin Hund. Sorry, Adam Gardner there on the inside with Phillips in that number 6. Phillips has hit a few cars out there. He would like to be staying close, but not close enough to crash out. Meanwhile, Chris Cornett now on the inside line. Adam Gardner's made it through. And Chris on the inside line. This came very close. Gardner could have been very close one more time of making that rear bumper contact with the front of that 6 car. And there's another caution. That is 3rd caution of this first stage before the end of the stage. Let's see, is it Sean Cross at the back of it, or is it somebody else? Just finding out what happened out there. I don't think that happened between these drivers. It must have been somebody at the back. These guys were doing their job with Chris Cornett, and Adam Gardner just going through and getting ahead of Phillips, the number 6 there. And we'll see if this is exactly what happened. Sean Cross should be 83, but we'll see if anybody around has had an incident as well. Let's have a look at it. He's going through on the inside line, but some of the 69, I believe, have bumped up in one of the cars ahead. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, Barker's through on the inside line. He's sending one very close coming up to the one in that blue car. This could have been interesting to see him having been involved in multiple incidents. He wouldn't want to be doing that. But we'll see what everybody around is going to do as well. So having a look at this, we haven't been able to find the exact incident and the cause of this caution, but we'll see what happened out there. So that, as we're having a look at this now, anybody that we're going to see getting involved in any of this incident, nobody at the back so far at this point in time. Could well be a time coming up for everybody. And there is Chris. There is Chris Mayo on the inside. Then maybe he made contact someone on the track and went straight to the inside wall. This would be interesting to see, so then let's have a look at it. Let's go back a few frames and get back at it. So Chris Mayo was at it. He was driving in his own. Does he hit the wall? He doesn't hit the wall. Okay, let's have a look at it. It's far away from the incident. When the incident happened, let's have a look at it. Oh, that is exactly what happened then. So he was spinning a little. His rear end was stepping out, but before he could correct it, someone from behind comes up and tags it in. If I'm not wrong, that looks like 73 of Jamie Prevost, and him being involved in multiple incidents doesn't quite do any good to his race, but everybody around as well, as we just get incidents and incidents. I wonder if you're gonna go green, or the stage break is gonna come up before we are ready to go green. Jamie Prevost trying his best, but not enough to stay away from everybody, and the pace car lights are still on. We are at it, and lap 35, of course, is going to be the end of this first stage. Lap 35 is going to be the stage, it's stage ending. So just before that, maybe a lap or two if required, of course, or sure, they would want 1 or 2 laps to go before the end. They could caution it up for the end of the stage, but we'll see what actually happens though. But we'll see. It's all about what they can do at this point in time though. Sure, it's some of those drivers pitting in early, so really they have the chance they maybe would have had to pit in under those under the caution at the end of that first stage. A lot of cautions early on, so some of those pitted are surely a great chance for those who did not pit. Those at the top who haven't went to the pit box yet, they could well get in under that caution when they gets to the end of the stage. Are we going to see the pace car come in? Yes, the lights went off and it comes out in. We're going to go green one more time here at Charlotte Motor Speedway and hope for a great lap. So this is going to be the one and only lap. Or are we going to go yellow straight away? Or maybe yellow at the end of it? Otherwise, it's a 69 car ahead of everyone. Chris Cornett on the inside now. Riley on the outside. This is going to be close. Chris is going to come very close to winning the stage one. Here he needs this. He needs for his confidence. And the confidence booster that sometimes gets you from stage to race wins. But we'll see as Chris is on the inside line. He's going through it. He's not holding back as well at all. Meanwhile, Ricky on the outside, just staying out there. Not quite going for it. Meanwhile, the 69 comes back at him. Who was it? Who crossed the line first? Across that time, we'll see. We're into lap 37, but it should be caution. And we'll see, though, that is it. And the end of that first stage was the 69. It's in the wall. It's Chris Cornett. At least when he went yellow, he was ahead of him, but it was very close when they went across that line. Let's have a look at the restart, but that was a little bit of movements going on. With the 69 did everything to defend, and then Chris Cornett, what a move from him. He just switched to out to inside and thought for a little lunge to the outside, but then saw that Riley was there, so didn't quite go for it, but just got his car in there, and then just went from outside to the inside because he forced the 69 to the outside. Tom, made Tom go to the outside line, but then just switched to the inside instantly when he saw a gap and a move. But this was these guys coming across that line. Who was it, though? Was it Chris Cornett or was it Tom getting victory here in this first stage at Charlotte Motor Speedway? This is very close. Very, very close. Hard to judge by a naked eye. So it will be Chris Cornett then coming up to stage one victory. Chris Cornett back to the top now. He must be looking up to get it in, and his stage one winner is your Chris Cornett. He sends it in. So everyone now heading into the pits, get those fuel in, get the tires if they want, and damage repairs. And that didn't look like a tire change. That must look like a just a little bit of a fuel. So we're gonna take a little bit of a few minutes break before we go green for stage two. And we are on at it once again, just ready to go for that second stage, which is of course going to be lap 35 to 70. Few laps behind the pace car, so few minus, but at the end, when it's the end of that lap 70, it's going to be the end of that second stage. Meanwhile, some of the cars still at the top. I wonder if they've pitted or not. But one man, two drivers in fact, Stephen Hind and Barker at the top. Some of them have pitted, some haven't, but it'll be interesting to see where they have. Meanwhile, the pace car comes in, and that's going to be green flags one more time. Tom on the inside, he still stays there. Ricky Riley to the outside and to the top two as well. Barker not far away, on the way to get back to that race lead he wouldn't want. He was close, involved in an incident, and his stage one win wasn't quite there. It's going to be interesting for him, but he'd like to pick it up back one more time. I lost the screen. Ricky Riley involved in an incident straight away. We just go green. And it gets bad one more time. And I think that could well be not a good sign for any of those drivers. Sure, Ricky Riley having a great race so far just makes it worse. Let's have a look at it. This restart replay then. Let's get it going to see what exactly happened between Ricky Riley. I mean, Tom being involved in one of the incidents earlier, so he would one way or the other say that he could be the one, but we'll see. Because Hinds wasn't far away as well, the number 20 on the inside, he could have went in as well. Let's have a look at it. Riley stayed to the outside, he stayed committed, and he got nothing to do there. Just very finest of margins. Very hard to judge for Hinds as well on the inside, the number 20, and then Riley just a little tap, and these trucks are as light as a paper and just going into the wall as a little tap touches them. And that is now then more cars banging the wheels as well. Meanwhile, the number 3 straight heads into the wall. And let's have a look at it. Tim Darby now. Number 3 that was involved in one of those. Let's see, does he touch anyone? Does he get tapped from behind? Let's have a look at it. What happens though? Because all of the cars went wide, he could have been the one. He could have been in there to get up, let's have a look at it. What happened exactly? He's staying to the inside, flips on the outside. Oh, so that was close. That was then very close for him. Oh, that is interesting, and he goes on the inside line straight away. So he was there was a lot of incidents coming up for him. He was on the inside, trying to save up from most of them, but didn't quite do it. As soon as he would try and went back to the racing line, to the track, he just found a few more cars coming up his way and got involved. And incidents follow. Incidents haven't stayed away. The trucks quite a lot, make a lot of these incidents, and would be interesting, but we'll see what they can at this point in time. Meanwhile, Ricky Riley, the first one causing an incident, of course. The one to the back, Chris Cornett, then does he go in the wall yet? Oh, no, okay, that wasn't Chris Cornett, that was a number 3. In fact, similar Liv Brief, but then of course we'll see what it's gonna be. It's saying state winner to Tim Darby, but sure, he didn't win that first stage at the end of it. Many cars involved at this point in time, just getting back with the cars live now, the caution going on. And one more time, the number 17 of Ricky Riley in there. Meanwhile, Tom has been able to stay there. Thomas has been in there, the number 69. It says is here for a good time, but let's see how good of a time he has, or anybody around him has, because any of you racing around him, you gotta be careful. In fact, he didn't have much involvement in that incident, but still we'll see. Meanwhile, Christopher Barker in just 4th place, it should be. Very close. The second one on the inside line, just behind Thomas there. Corey Denson, 22, right behind Hinds as well. Number 20 and 22 out there. Chris Cornett, the number 3 on that inside line. Double file going on, of course, as the pace car lights seem to be off. Meanwhile, Austin Hund quite far behind. Not far behind, but still a little bit behind the top, of course. He can pick it up as well. He's just third as well, just line up side by side with Chris Cornett then. It could well be on. The fight could be on, because of course some of these drivers are teammates, some of them not, but are all of them fight for themselves at the end, and that's gonna be the fight to do for all of those one more time. And it's gonna be none other than Thomas to have do another restart within only a few laps, and this is gonna be crazy as the two on the outside switch to the inside for a little bit. Hin's very close to the outside wall, so is so is Denson then on the inside. The number 22 moves to the inside line. He doesn't let anybody get closer. Meanwhile, Hinds goes to the inside line. And is he going to get closer to the leader? But this could well be a chance for him. Thomas could have find it hard to defend. Is he going to be able to do so? Because he's going to find it hard. And he's going to find a challenge of Hinds there to defend and get himself into that race lead. Meanwhile, Barker on the inside of Austin Hund. And Thomas is staying there. He's not letting him pass on the outside, though. Denson on the inside, he's still staying there. They're staying single file. Only one car on the outside within that top three. Almost moving and switching up. Double file then. Now Austin Hund is there or something. We're seeing in that second place at this moment in time. Meanwhile, Denson on the inside line. Austin on the outside line. Having a look at this. From the seat of Austin, we are looking at this battle going on in this race. Well, let's see what happens between let's have a look at this great battle. Meanwhile, sends one and goes through to Corey Denson, but Austin might try and come back at him as we're looking at from the rear of Thomas's car. But Thomas has been smooth and smooth sailing for him. Nobody quite able to get closer to him though. Meanwhile, Denson on the inside line trying to get closer. Austin then disappears but comes back on the circuit like a magic. Then now Denson and Austin and one more time, and now there comes Chris Cornett right behind those guys, and he could well be in there as well. Are we going to see somewhat him get back as well? He won that first stage. Is he going to be able to get back to the top? He might be able to, as Denson then switched from inside to a little bit movement to the outside, but just saw Chris Cornett there and just stayed out, and not quite easy for him. Chris used the outside line and then just got him up and got ahead of him. They got very close, but he was committed and he used it there, of course, to overtake. Then it was Corey Denson who was on the inside of him. He thought to go to the outside, but saw Chris Cornett there and didn't move an inch, and that is exactly what he needed. Otherwise, things could have been very different. Meanwhile, we're just about 21 laps to the end now, which is going to become 20 when they get across that line. The complete 50 laps, of course. The second stage is going to be at the end of lap 70. And the fight for the lead is on. Is Thomas going to be a new winner at the end of the second stage, or is it going to be Hinds or even Austin Huns, or maybe Chris Cornett to make it 2 in a row at the end of it? Chris Cornett, of course, looking for a victory after that first one at Daytona. We've got 3 different winners in 3 races. Can we make it 3 in a row as Hinds just goes on the outside and overtakes Thomas, and now he's going to try and defend maybe. Meanwhile, Thomas stays to the inside line and could well be a chance for him to get through. Austin Hund now might try and make it 3 wide, go to the outside, but doesn't quite do it as he's now very close with Thomas there. This could well be a chance for Austin, and both of them are very, very close. One more time. Meanwhile, where is Hinds then? He's disappeared from our times, but we're going to see where he does he though. Has he conceded the place? He hasn't though, because the Hinds and Thomas are fighting each other as Hinds is at the top ahead of everyone in his own race, but sure, not going to be his own for a long, long time as Hinds switches, Austin Hund switches to the inside line, and he's going to go through. The fight is still on. They're side by side. Is it going to be Austin Hund coming up ahead, or is it going to be Stephen Hinds coming up ahead? Both of them very, very close. This could well be a chance and a massive disaster if they just connect a little bit on high speeds. And this was very close for Hinds there to just stay away from that wall. That was very close for him to even stay away from that wall on the outside. This could have been a disastrous one in one way or the other. Eddie not make it in those best way possible, but we'll see. Meanwhile, at the back of it is going to be Barker and the number 6 of Phillips as well. Phillips has been for you guys, but we'll see what he's going to be able to do there. Hopefully stays it smooth. Robert Denton is there in that number 2 as well. He's trying to defend from William, and right behind that 55 of Crosby, I believe, and William in that 75 on the outside, just making it through. Could well be a chance for him. Is he going to get it going? And that is going to be a bump, and that's going to be an incident. Meanwhile, they were just going side by side, and that's almost onto this onto the barrier. On top of the barrier goes that car, as William one more time involved in that incident. He was just there with Robert Denton and just got him in, and that's going to be your caution number 1 at the end of, even way before the end of this second stage. Let's have a look at that. Robert Denton. Surprising how he's back on the track on those 4 wheels. He was almost on his roof. Oh, he indeed was. He was on that roof of his car, spinning all around. His head might as well be spinning as hard as he can. We could well be seeing the pace truck coming out very soon, one more time. But let's have a look at it. One more time. It was the 999 car, and Denton were fighting. William was far away. He tried to go 3 wide maybe in there. Let's have a look at it one more time. So, what about the 999, and then what is he going to do? Let's have a look at it. As we just at the movement coming up. Could well be, was this the moment that all went wrong for William, but for Robert Denton as well. So Denton is staying to the inside line. The number 9 car goes to the outside, maybe making a way for it, as this time William, let's have a look at it. He might have found a way. He might have went in this time around, and we'll see. Yes, he has. So Denton, they're not quite away, but they're quite close, so they aren't quite close enough at this point in time. So maybe Denton not checking his mirrors, thinking that there's nobody to the inside. William, and he's still about far behind the number 9 as well, so he's not getting closer. I wonder if this is the exact frame that we had the incident in, but let's have a look at it. Yep, it must not be the frame that we saw the incident happening, so let's have a look at it. Are we going to find any of that? And that is going to be the one. They were very close, and that is a huge hit. Maybe let's go back a bit and get a different camera angle to see what exactly happened at this point in time. And William just made, let's have a look at it. So this was many cars. Earlier we saw they weren't involved, and this is exactly what happened. So Denton was on the inside, William was on the outside. Maybe William was just very close to the wall and had no space to get himself, keep himself safe to the outside. So he moved to the inside rapidly, and that sees him getting involved. What a lucky spec for Bloodworth there. What a lucky escape. He had a flying car of Denton beside him, and he still moved away from that without any incident. And pretty much, yeah, this was very close. I mean, Denton was doing everything he could to keep William behind, and now both of them are going to be involved with massive damage. Look at that. Bloodworth, no touch, even simple, not even a touch of Denton's car, and that sees him the luckiest escapes I've seen in a long time. And let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at it with Bloodworth, and we should be seeing another camera angle. A little bit. This would have been great. It would have happened rapidly as well. Sure, it happened rapidly for us watching, but it might have not happened rapidly for him, because with how close these cars are, and sometimes when you think that you could be going through these few seconds sometimes get passed by a few minutes if such of a situation that is. Look at that. He was just in there for one move. Had he moved to the inside, he might have lost the control of the car, so he simply went in there as quick as he could and escaped it in. And Stephen Hins now ahead of everyone, keeping it ahead of everyone. Meanwhile, Thomas might have picked it that is far cars behind at the top drivers at the top, and Chris Cornett, your stage 3 winner and Daytona winner in the Truck Series, is inside that top 3. Meanwhile, Austin Hund and on, we're green on back again live one more time. Meanwhile, Barker on the outside goes for it. So it's going to be the other drivers, but we'll see what's going to be going on. Meanwhile, the number 6 of Flips on the inside line. This could well be a big move of Britt. It could be hard in his mouth for Barker, who came one more time very, very close over clipping up with the Flips number 6. They could have ended up going pretty bad in multiple ways, but we'll see what is going to be all happening at this point in time. Lap 59 out of 117. Only 11 laps to the end of this second stage, so it's going to be very close. It could be Stephen Hinds, Austin Hinds, or Chris Cornett. Stephen Hinds has driven a very good race so far. He could well be at the time of it. We saw Ricky Riley, one of those at the top at the start of it, being involved. I wonder if he's came out on the circuit back on us or not. We haven't seen anything of him after that. The damage might have been irreparable, but Chris Cornett could be at the top when it comes to checkered flag. Not the checkered flag, but the end of that stage, stage 2. Stephen Hinds could be there as well. Meanwhile, we're going to the bonnet of Chris Cornett's car. They're just trying to have a look at the engine in that truck. But let's see now. This is very close between the rears, the Stephen Hinds and Chris Cornett. One more time. This is going to be very close. We had a bit of a boat distract from this. Meanwhile, Chris is going to go on the inside line. He could be on the way to taking the lead of the race. The lead chains could be on. What is it going to be in? We're going to see the 2, the 3. Anybody around there? Stephen Hinds, Austin Hund, and could well be in Chris Cornett. There was one of the cars bumping in with the wall. We saw dust coming out. And that only happens while somebody, when you connect with the wall, maybe a little bit of a tap from Austin Hinds to the wall on the outside, as he's already doing it out there. Very close now between the 2 and now 3, 4 cars out there. Kyle Peacock has came in as well. He was involved. I wonder if involved or not in one of those incidents. He fitted at the in one of those incident cautions at the in that first stage, and then of course he might have done later on as well, but. Very, very close. Kyle Peacock is back at the top. So is Austin Hund. Just pressurized it. Putting the pressure on Stephen Hinds there. He's putting all the pressure he can. Is he going to switch from outside to the inside? From high to low? But is it going to be Austin Hund taking that race? Stage 2 victory. Is it going to be Chris Cornett, Kyle Peacock, or will it be none other than Austin Hund? Who is it going to be? Can Chris Cornett make it a 2 in a row? Can Austin Hund make it a stage win for himself as well and gain a few points? Meanwhile, there it is, Cornett very, very close to Hinds there. This is going very, very close. Everybody on the outside line. Only Austin Hund is on the inside line. Yes, meanwhile, 3 wide goes day 3. Kyle Peacock in between Chris Cornett and Austin Hund as well. Austin Hund loses the positions and is back out of it, thinking the best could well be for him to back out. Meanwhile, Chris Cornett on the inside. 4 of Hinds could have thought for it, but Peacock has went in and he's not going to let him get past. He's not holding back. But sure is it Chris Cornett as well, as he thinks, if he thinks it's okay enough to take to the inside line. It might not be, because had he done that, he might have bumped in, and there is a caution. Jeff Crosby, Jamie Prevost, one more time being involved, and all the others at the back of the field. Obviously, we almost saw an incident at the front of the back, with the lead is almost going 3 wide and connecting, but the drivers at the back might have done so as well. We're just waiting for the replay and to get to know what exactly happened, but the incidents have been quite left out. It's quite very hard to leave it out there, and there we go. It is William then involved one more time. He had a huge incident, and there it is, the 55, and the other car right around as well. So is Jamie Prevost on that 73, and what a hit for that green car there ahead. He's got a green number as well, car to judge, but that is incidents in this race. The number 55 and the number 4, and the one behind out there as well. So there was the 55, and then the one behind those guys, 55 and Prevost, just tried staying there. He tried staying away, but just in one way or the other ended up fighting. Meanwhile, Bloodwood, they're spinning around as well. Does he get tagged? Yes, he does. So Corey Denson switches from outside to the inside, from high to low, and he just gives a little bit of a tap to Bloodworth, and that sees his rear end step out, and then it just get going. Let's see how hard it was then. Oh, so that is exactly what happened. Then William, in the end, trying to take action and stay away from the incident that could happen. Meanwhile, and then, of course, so then there was William going to the outside wall, coming back, Bloodworth just staying there, the 55 going into him, and the one behind hits him as well. The number 99 of Gerald makes contact as well, and then Jamie Bravo just gets tagged. This time he's got nothing to do, just get tagged from the cars behind. He does a full 360 spin and doesn't get back. In fact, he does a little bit more of that. Let's have a look at it. Any evidence or any view that better that we could get with Jamie Prevost on board? He's just getting tagged from behind, and not much that he can do or much that we have to have a look at. But let's have a look at it. He's simply driving. Oh, he gets in there as well. So sure, he might have been tapped from behind, but he tapped one of the cars earlier on. So as he tapped one of those, then he simply gets tapped from Gerald in there. Almost it was like, you tap one, I'm gonna tap you. And we're back on with live Stephen Hines and Chris Cornett inside that top two, with Kyle Peacock and Austin Huns following up by. So pretty much just like that first stage, the end of that first stage, we only have one lap to the end of it because of a caution, and we'll see what all of these are going to be doing. Some of those drivers have pitted with tires. Corey Denson on the newest tires at this moment. The time put in lap 55. It'll be a later than everybody else, so you could be on. But are we going to see anybody or any people out there when it goes yellow at the end of this stage pit out and bring out tires as well on their cars to give them the best of the performance in terms of grip? But I think the space car lights were off. But let's see as we get back on with the leaders. Meanwhile, the 55 car is just making their way around the circuit. The pace car lights are off, so it's going to be going off the track, and it's going to go green one more time, and the fight is going to begin. The race win fight, the stage 2 win fight could be on. It could be Stephen Hins, or it could be Chris Cornett making 2 in a row. I mean, he knows that he has to not only make it 2 in a row, but make it 3 in a row for that race win as well, which he has been trying to chase in a long time. As we're going to go green now. Carl Peacock right behind Chris Cornett as well. So there's going to be more laps then, I believe. So it might be 69 and lap 70 to get going. A little bit more than what we had at the end of that first stage. So we'll see Carl Peacock on the inside line. He's going to be going through on Austin Huns. As he made the move. Not quite though. Austin stays on the outside and quite stays committed to his line. Meanwhile, Peacock has to switch to the outside back on and goes single file. Meanwhile, Austin switches to the inside, and then Chris Cornett falling behind a little, but it gets back, and now Austin, and that was very close between the two there. Chris Cornett might find it very hard, but they've came across the line into lap 71. They're gonna go, so the 70 they've came, and this could well be in. Is it gonna be Stephen Hins taking that stage 1 win, or is it going to be Chris Cornett doing a rapid move to the inside and taking that? Or could it be Carl Peacock as he went through on Chris Cornett? Could there be a chance for him to go through on Hins as well? This is very close game, Chris Cornett and Hins to that line, but it is going to be none other than Stephen Hines to come across that line and take stage 2 win. So 2 different winners at the end of 2 stages. And now, whenever we go green, we'll be going to the end of this race. 117 laps it's about to be. Stephen Hines takes it all. The man from Texas finishes ahead of everyone at the end of this first stage. Kyle Peacock, our highest I rating driver here in this field, but we'll see what they can do here tonight. They weren't finished first ahead of everyone with that number 1 car, of course. The man from Panama City, Florida, is going to show us how it's done 2 in a row. He hasn't won any of the stages tonight, but that doesn't always mean that you're going to win. You're not going to win in that third one. Third is the one where it all matters and where the race victory lies, as everybody now comes in at the end of this second stage, which could well be their one and only last pit stop before the end of the race. So everyone just heading pit road and making their way to get on, but Stephen Hines ahead, then just coming out of the pit road, then getting those tires, if they would have wanted a newer ones, a little bit to get him to the end of the race in a bit of a fresher way and not have to lift out, not have to do any savings. Same for everybody around as well, to get themselves a bit of fuel as well to get to the end. And as long as we are through to the end of the race without any problems, without any issues, it could well be on. This is very, very close, but we'll see what it all happens and goes around, and to make it as interesting as it gets to the end. I mean, so far, hope you all watching have enjoyed this race, making it as good as it gets to the end of it. So just keep it going, making it as better as we can here at BMRL Network, bringing you on this interesting, amazing Truck Series race to make it the best out of them all. Of course, the Cup Series one on Thursday night is going to be coming up as well. Do we have the pace car lights off now? Yes, we do. So we should be going up green as soon as the pace car jumps back in, and the fight for it, the fight for that race win is going to begin. This is where it all matters. Third stage is, it's the stage that everybody wants to finish ahead of one another, and it's the one that's going to get you that race victory. Meanwhile, Bloodworth is at the top, currently side by side with Thomas, just ahead of Stephen Hines and Chris Cornett. And meanwhile, the pace car comes in. It's going to be going green. Meanwhile, Bloodworth, is he going to be able to have the better of a restart? Is he going to be able to get a restart better than everybody else? He's ahead, already car ahead than Thomas on the inside line. Wasn't able to get going quite smoothly. Chris Cornett might try and come back at him, as Stephen Hines switched to the outside very, very nicely. Already in get him single file. Meanwhile, Kyle Peacock straight away is through in. So is Phillips as well. He's finding his way to get through as well. That's 75 out of 117 out there, and now he's losing. Thomas is losing it. I wonder if he's pitted or not at the end of that stage, or in that stage, because he might have not had the tires and the grip to defend. To the end of it, this could well be going on. Meanwhile, you're going to see a flip from Peacock. Chris Cornett on the inside then, and this could well be Thomas then. We are watching. He's finding it quite hard. Of course, it's never quite easy, or never. It doesn't matter if you're falling back. You can't come back. You can sure come back all the time. But it's always good to stay at the top. Meanwhile, Peacock is ended. He's going to go at him. So will Chris Cornett on the inside line. He now makes no more but 2 places to get himself into fourth place and get back to that top 4. And he could have Flips coming back at him, but not quite doing so. We have both the stationers inside that top 5. Carl Peacock's going at it on the inside line. Is he going to send it one? He has. Now he must not have no worry about the fuel and the tyres to get themselves to the end, or they might need one, but some fuel to the end of the race, but they are not going to worry about it at this moment in time and send it one through and just get going at this point in time. Stephen Hines still able to defend and stay ahead of Carl Peacock at this point in time. Stephen Hines eyeing his first victory in the Truck Series here at BMRL Network. Meanwhile, 87 on the outside, Peacock on the inside. This could well be on 78 laps out of 117. This could well be a one more timer into the car of Chris Cornett, but let's see what is going on. Meanwhile, Chris Cornett and Carl Peacock on the inside line. Chris Cornett trying everything to get closer to get. And there's a wreck. There is incidents, and Austin Hund, always just like the previous week, he's staying there at the top. He's trying to stay within the top drivers. Just can't quite do it or catch a break from the incidents, and is involved in one of those one more time in this third stage. Let's have a look at the replay of what exactly happened and how many other drivers have been involved as well. So now, looking at this is Barker. Does he go to the outside? Oh, that might have been, and that's going to be William one more time. William Gay involved in an incident. That is his third or fourth time I'm seeing him being involved in an incident. So let's have a look at that. Restart goes on. They're all going at it. So Austin, oh, that was Austin Hund. That was Austin Hund hitting the wall, unstabling his car, going into Barker, and then simply both of them have a huge spin. It'll be hard to judge on what exactly happened or what they did to each other. And Jamie Prevost just trying his best to stay away from any incidents furthermore in this race, but he might have just been able to clip in. Oh, very close. Can't just quite clip in. But Barker, the driver, started at the top ahead of everyone. Hasn't been mistake-free this race, and that explains it. Ooh, so let's look at that. What happened? These two are fighting. Austin in ahead of Barker. Barker sees that number 999 on the inside. He goes, switches to the outside. Oh, so that might have been Austin already touching the wall on the outside. And when he comes back, or just a little bit of a touch from Barker, that sees him spinning around. And then it gets both of them all around. I think there is not going to be a lot to gain in this race. And sure, there's still a few laps, quite a few laps to get back to the top and gain any time lost. But road to recovery could well be a hard one as both of them are into the pits and get their damage repairs. Just as we get going green, just before that, we're going to take a bit of a break and be back when we are green one more time in this third and final stage of the race. And we are back at it, getting back with the action as the pace car lights are off with Carl Peacock, Chris Cornett, Stephen Hines, and Bill Phillips inside that top 4. Kyle Peacock eyeing 2 victories in a row. Stephen Hines eyeing 2 stage wins in a row and make it a race victory for him, his first of the season. Will it be somewhat of a chance for him, or Chris Cornett return to the top of the field after his first win at Daytona? The last 2 races haven't quite been his way. Can he make it this time around? As we are just going to go green this time around the line we go. On to lap 83, that is going to be. Well, Stephen Hines early ahead and far away, moving up the order, ahead of everyone and getting himself up. Meanwhile, on the inside, Chris Cornett sends one of Kyle Peacock. This could well be on. The pressure is on Peacock now, as now he's on pressure from that number 6 car as well. Thomas is not far behind to attack. Meanwhile, everybody behind gets them as well. They're at lap 83 out of 117, and that's going to be 87 of Chris Cornett. On the inside, moves himself into second place. They're all single file at this moment in time. Not quite going double, but Peacock's going to go at it. He's going to go out of his way. He's going to force Cornett to stay to the inside line and give him space to get through, but he doesn't quite get through at this moment in time. As Cornett now quietly moving up into the lead of the race. He went through on the inside line, and he keeps going again and again. And this is going to be a chance for him. Both of these drivers, well, stage 1 and stage 2 winner, are currently 1-2 in this race so far. Is this going to be the order when we cross that line after 117 laps? Is it going to be Kyle Peacock, the third one different with stage winner, and third different stage winner in this race, and make it a race victory for him, which is of course the most important one. Meanwhile, on the inside line, Chris Cornett, he's sending one, and he's going to take that lead. This time around, he's done it. Not quite the time that we can say that he's going to keep it to the end of it, but so far he's kept it. And he's made it through. Meanwhile, Hin's going to come back at him. He's not going to let him sit there at all. This time around, Kyle could do that as well, as Chris falls back to top 3. Not quite enough. Not quite enough for Chris Cornett or for Kyle Peacock to get through, as Cornett finds his way back again, and he's going to switch to the inside line one more time and get himself through back into first place. The lead switching are on. Only on lap 86, which is of course going to be lap 87 as we go across that line this time around. The fight is on, the fight between the top 3, far away from the rest of the grid at this moment in time. Meanwhile, one more time is Stephen Hines. I think we saw him have great pace in those first few races, but not quite able to finish at the top of the timings. Because they've been involved in one another incident, just like Austin Hines and Barker. But this time around, these 3 have kept it smooth. I mean, anything could happen though. Anything can happen. We're seeing these 3 fighting. These 3 could not even be existing at the end of this race if something goes wrong. Or they could well be dominating ahead of everyone the way they are doing at this moment in time. Kyle Peacock just staying away. That's a really look at this. So that is a lot of the laps, and look at that, Chris Cornett and Hines looking at that. So Hines only went a little bit quicker than Cornett on lap 85, but after that 86 and 87 have been the quickest by Chris Cornett by a few thousandth of a second. And let's have a look at it this time now. 88, Hines went a little bit quicker. He goes a little bit faster this time around, and that is completely visible as he's more challenging on the inside line of Chris Cornett, and he's going to be making it there. Meanwhile, Peacock is out there as well, getting it through, and I think he's going to get back as well. He's going a little bit quicker than him there, and that explains it. He's very, very close between the top 2 timings, and I think his speed and performance is showing up. And he's got it the way he's moved up from the back of the grid almost to the top one more time, and that's going to be these 3 at it. Now, as we move on to lap 90 now, with just 27 laps to the end. Kyle Peacock on the inside line. Are they both leaving Chris Cornett behind? But he's ahead of both of these 2. They're side by side. Chris has got nobody to challenge him. It could be Hines, or it could be Kyle Peacock to get back on. Kyle, who's looking to make it 2 wins in a row. Chris Cornett making victory number 2 in this series. Or it could be Stephen Hines, victory number 1 in this series so far. Meanwhile, Chris flipped at it as well against Dustin Bloodworth. He's just overtaken him and gotten ahead of him. Now fighting with Thomas to get himself ahead and moves himself up the top of the timing, and that is going to be a wreck. That is going to be Thomas taking one of the cars, and that is flips this time around, and he's going to be going into the wall, and that's a caution one more time in this race, and another one in third stage, and that is Chris Flips going, making some moves. Maybe he made a move, and Thomas was like, hold a second, let me not let you do that, as he just sends him into the wall. Let's have a look at that. So simply, I think Thomas in there holding his line, trying to move to the outside, did flips there, and that simply sees him bump into him, and that's going to be himself this time around, be the victim of it. Earlier we saw taking people and spinning them around, but this time it's Flips himself. Everybody now just heading into the pit and get themselves the fuel and tires they would need to not worry about to the end of this race and push to the maximum. And that was close between Stephen Hines, Chris Cornett, and everybody around. But Hines has done it and come out ahead of everyone out of pit road, and that's going to see him get back to that race lead. And Chris Cornett was challenging these two, but he's lost a bit in the pit road. But we'll see what happened though, because some of these drivers take tires, some of them don't. Some of them take a lot more fuel than the others, so that makes the difference to time it perfect. And one wins and loses than the other. Austin Hund in the pits, and don't think he's going to come out, just like a lot of the drivers around who sure started the race, but making incidents and having problems, weren't able to recover in one way or the other. Chris Mayo in 12th place at this point in time currently. Is he going to head into pit road? Yes, he will. Well, beyond at this point in time though, we're going to see what are they going to do, as it looks like the pace car lights might be off. They aren't off, or are they off? Quite hard to judge, but I think they might be off at this point in time. And to see us go green one more time, everybody now ready and ready to roar to the end of it, especially the top three. They have shown us all the performance and things it takes to go to the end of the race and turn out to be victorious, turn out to be the fastest and quickest of them all. Meanwhile, Chris Cornett just moving around to generate all the temperature he can in these tires and just give him the best of the grips that he can. Meanwhile, the man from Panama City, the man from Florida, is eyeing his second victory in a row here at BMRL Network Truck in the Truck Series. He's going to try and do it 2 in a row, but is Chris Cornett going to let him do? Is Stephen Hines is going to let him get ahead of him and not let him get his first victory? But we'll see what's going to all be happening at this moment in time. Meanwhile, with 23 laps to go, we went green straight away. Chris Cornett and Stephen Hines find it out. Dal Peacock stays to the inside, but he's going to be through on Stephen Hines now. They could be side by side at this point in time. They're going to try and attack Chris Cornett there, but that's another wreck might have happened, and a caution comes out before it came out quicker. Then it went out. And that is Thomas in that wall at this point in time, and it's head straight in the pits. Might not be coming out, or could well be big problems for him. Let's have a look at this. At this point in time, though, both of them are side by side. I mean, earlier on, we saw Thomas get involved with flips in one of those, and this time around, again, he's on the inside line. Let's have a look at this. What happened, though? Does he switch rapidly to the outside, or does the 999 switch to the inside? What happened there? And that was then, you could call this one on Thomas then. He switched to the outside, obviously, and not having judged correctly, and having, obviously, the 999's rear of his car ahead of his bumper. Just a bit closer to that bumper. Let's see what happened, though, because then Thomas had it straight away. Sure, he spun, but he was closer to that wall. He hit that wall as well. But maybe he has some kind of a suspension damage out there that didn't want him to continue, because he had it straight into the pits back on. Let's have a look at it. And sure, it's hard to judge sometimes, but this is a big one. You know, this is, he could just peek a little bit to the right-hand side and see the rear of the bumper of the car ahead, and which is of course they're gonna collide anyways, no matter what he does. Not sure what made him switch to the outside there, but that's gonna be damage for both cars then. Let's have a look at it. Let's see if what was Thomas doing then? Let's peek to the right of his car, but what was he able to see? What was he gonna be doing, though? Let's have a look at this for this point in time. Okay, so as this looks, this was more over not Thomas going into him. It was more over the 999 car. Sure, he was high, but then in the movement, he thought, okay, there's chance to go to low, but then just bumped in. That could well have been the chance. And that is wrecks happening already into this race. Cautions out, drivers into the pits, drivers out in there. Are we going to continue on? The pace car could well be in this time around with its lights turning off, and the pace car driver having to get back on. He's been out so many times, almost like the Cup Series race, which we had last Thursday. It's almost like that. The one in Atlanta, we had so many laps had done the pace car driver, and similar here as well, many times out in that first stage, a few times in that second one, and a lot of the times in this third one as well. And they should be on after a few laps behind the pace car. Will it be 20 laps or a little bit less or even more to the end of it, as everybody now waiting for the end of the race, especially the likes of Kyle Peacock, and Corey Denson is there. He's moved himself up into second place. That is interesting, as Chris Cornett and Stephen Hins might have pitted and found a way of putting on new tires on. Get on, maybe. Let's have a look at that. No Chris Cornett or Stephen Hines inside that, or maybe in fact Stephen Hines might be there. Chris Cornett is a little bit few cars behind as well, as we should be going out green one more time, as Corey Denson's going to be inside on the inside line. It's going to be 20 laps to the end now. It's going to be Corey to the inside, but you might find it hard to keep up with Kyle Peacock, as that's going to be already visible, as he's now on the way to lose out to Bloodworth. But Bloodworth is on the way to lose out to Stephen Hines, who's showing extreme pace and excellent speed to get it going, and moves himself back into top three, and he could well be thinking up to go to the outside to get up and ahead of dominant over Corey Denson as well, but we'll see what he's going to be able to do. Not quite so far at this point in time. We're just having us back in the truck. Watch out. all those behind. Bloodworth losing out. Stephen Hines and Corey Denson has been able to defend so far. So far, he's been able to keep himself ahead and get himself. Meanwhile, Austin Hunn's back on the track. He's back. He might be far off the leaders, but he's back on just behind Chris Mayo then. Now all these car drivers overtaking Sean Cross as well with 18 laps to go to the end of it. Meanwhile, Austin Hunn's back at it. He's trying to catch. He's trying all he can. We don't see Barker back out, but Austin Hunn's ahead. He's going to try and get back on and do the recovery. He can't much of it. Anything he can at this point in time, which of course could well be not good for him and for his team, but we'll see what he's going to be able to do. Sure, he needs a lot of it. He needs the recovery, and this could well be on. Meanwhile, Bloodworth is now on the worst and lose out to Jimmy Prevost as well. Meanwhile, the leaders are going at it, but Bloodworth and Chris Mayo are going to be at the fight as well. And Chris Cornett ahead of everyone. Has he taken the lead? Has he fallen back? Or he might be falling back at this point in time as Peacock leads. Chris Cornett might be able to get lapped. Your stage one winner, the driver that won stage one, the driver that came very close to the stage two victory as well, finds himself almost about to be lapped down on the leaders. Something might have went wrong for him with just 15 laps to go. Not much he can do unless there's a caution and he's the lead lap driver. He could get back on the lead lap, but that could be a big of a struggle at this point in time as it stands. Carl Peacock ahead of everyone, and he leads them up front and not letting anybody get closer at all. That's going to be Carl Peacock then stay ahead and dominate the race, the one that he did last week. He came up to the top from the back of the grid, and I think he hasn't disappointed so far. He's done it all with just 14 laps to go. With it, there is not much to go now for him to ruin it out. It's only himself that he can ruin it out for. He can do not too good of a race, or pretty much do a mistake that's going to maybe get into the outside wall, or maybe a little bit tap from one of the cars around. That could see him, but I think that's not happening at this point in time. With just 13 laps to go, he knows it. He just needs to keep it out on track at this point in time. He's got the speed to cover up Hines at this point in time. And then Denson in third place. Chris is in fourth place. Chris Mayo currently stands in fourth place at this point in time. With there's 13 laps to go, he could well be having a chance at that top three as well. Meanwhile, he now goes on the outside, but there's lapping a car that's not him overtaking that third place. Corey Denson, of course, he could well be getting closer if he's got the speed, but I think his speed for that top four could well be a good finish for Chris Mayo as well. Could be on. I think we're just 12 laps to go. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the race again and again, and it's going to be get it going. This is just now as it happens. A wreck happens around. Are we going to see a caution one more time as Jamie Prevost and William one more time find themselves involved? The 73 and the number 75 has somewhat of a problem of getting involved in the incidents. And that's going to be a caution one more time. And the caution problem can't quite get away. And let's have a look at it. That was Jamie Prevost getting involved one more time. 73. Let's go on board with him. Does he clip a car on the outside? A little bit touch. And that's going to see him spinning around. And I think the cars finding themselves involved in so many incidents with great racing, that's what it gets. Greater number of incidents as well. And his left fenderer is completely destroyed. interesting to see that his fender is damaged, but his front bumper is completely attached to his car. That is interesting thing to see, but as he heads straight into pit road for repairs. Sean Cross, Dustin Bloodworth, and Jamie Prevost straight heading into the pits to get themselves the damage repairs and maybe extra fuel that they want. Just a bit of a break as we have the pace car lights off. We will be back with it. And we have the pace car lights now go off. Something has happened out there. There we see. And that has happened under the caution, under the yellow flag as we were about to go green. And this might delay process. Let's have a look at what happened out there. Complete chaos as Chris is involved. I wonder, is it Hines, Corey Denson, or Phillips? This might be Corey Denson out there, but we'll see what happened out there. Then Chris Cornett trying to fight away from this incident. Tries to move over as well. Let's have a look at it. One more. So that was then Chris Mayo and Denson involved with Sean Cross just coming out of the pits after repairs. Finds himself up to the top. Let's have a look at it one more time. Slowly witness. Oh, that was very close between. So this was very close between Denson and Chris Mayo there. Both running to be the best point chances of their top four. That was him just tapping out the one on the inside, and I think that is going to be involved. And meanwhile, we are already green, and we did go green from there, but we're going to go yellow one more time with just 7 laps to go. Sean Cross can't quite get away from the incident. He was involved earlier on, went in and repaired, had a bit of a tap under with the pace behind the pace car, and now when it goes green, he finds himself in there as well. Oh, that was just him on himself. There was nobody to be involved. He just himself went spin. But let's have a look at it. What happened then? Does he come out on track and collect someone out there? No, so far he doesn't collect at anyone at this point in time. Maybe there was some debris going around the circuit that caused the yellow to be out. Because let's have a look at that. Chris Cornett has fallen massively behind as well. Ooh, that was close, and that was very close. That was Chris Cornett catching up with Austin Hund. So that was one before the green, and then of course a few cars involved before the green flag. But when it went green, it went back out to yellow. Let's have a look at it though, because we saw earlier on Sean Cross spinning around, but Does he manage and end up getting up? This one, I believe, should be before the, or this is the one that caused the yellow after the yellow flag when it went green. Let's have a look at it. On board now with the man, Sean Cross himself, just making it through making his way through around the outside of cars, just keeping it there. But as he makes it through, keeps it going. Chris Cornet ahead, everybody around. Still the pace car out there, everybody as it goes green. So this time, this is where it went green. It should be green all around. Everybody at normal speeds as green flag spaces out. They could be on. We saw Sean Cross spinning, but not quite able to see what exactly happened, and this is exactly what happened. He simply lost it on his own, goes to the wall on the inside, gets back to the outside, but just a little tap sees out debris out on track and cause a yellow. With just 5 laps to go now, it's gonna be rapid. Hopefully we don't have any green-white checkered situation. If they keep having incidents before the end of the first end of the race, it could be on. We could be on pausing these laps at 3 laps to remaining, and then they could go around 3 times and make it a 9 laps to the end. But as it stands, it could well be Carl Peacock or Stephen Hines for the race win. And the pace car lights are off. It could be switching to the end any time soon now. With just 4 laps to go as they cross that line, it's going to be 3 to go. And if they are able to get it smoothly. And the podium, I think Austin Hund, remember, fall out massively at the back of it. He's back within the top 4 one more time. Sure, there's a chance the top 2 are going to be winning it, but that doesn't always mean they're going to win. They're going to be the ones to win. Chris Mayo, Austin Hund, the 155 behind, Chris Cornet, everybody's got a chance. Let's have a look at it. Meanwhile, Sean Cross at the back of it in 9th place at this moment in time. The last car running out on track, I believe, but we'll see what is going to be the case when it goes green. So we're still 4 laps to go. It's going to be 3 to go when we are back. Back out on. The lights are off. Anytime the pace car comes to the end of it. They might have been on at the previous lap then, but we'll see. As we're just coming up to the end, and the restart's going to be on with Austin Hund, with Stephen Hines in that just on the inside line, the leader of that line. Meanwhile, Kyle Peacock on the outside as it goes green, and that is going to be Hines moving a little bit already. That could have been horrible straight away. His first race victory chances could have been thrown straight away with just 3 laps to go now. This could well be in. Meanwhile, the 55 is going to try and challenge Chris Mayo on the outside line is there. They could come very close. They're going to go 3 wide as Dustin Bloodworth sends it on the inside line. The number 4 car using it all as well. He wants to be the one. He wants to be one at the top and out of everyone. Meanwhile, the top 3 are back at it. It's going to be Kyle Peacock ahead of everyone. And Stephen Hines now finds it hard against Austin Hund. He fell back to the back of the grid. Spent many minutes inside the pits, and with the help of those cautions, he's got back to those lead laps and back at it. And next time by we cross the line, it's going to be white flag, and it's going to be Stephen Hines around the outside, Austin Hund to the inside. Chris Cornet in between as well. This could well be going bad. We will see. Carl Peacock looks on very clear for that race, 2nd victory in a row here at BMRL, and he could take it Vegas and Charlotte Motor Speedway as well. But we'll see what he's going to be able to do, and what are the other positions going to be happening. Who's going to take that place? Is it going to be Chris Cornet, Stephen Hines, or let it be Austin Hund? Because Stephen Hines looks settled for the 2nd place finish. And as we go across that line, it's going to be the checkered flag, and it's going to be none other than Kyle Peacock to take it 2 in a row here in the Truck Series. He won in Las Vegas. He wins in Charlotte Motor Speedway, and that's gonna be Kyle Peacock. He didn't took stage 1 win, he didn't took stage 2 win, but he takes the most important race win, the most important third and final, whoever it is. And then it was Stephen Hines. I mean, he did everything, he tried everything he could to the end, but doesn't quite do it. In the end, couldn't quite happen for him. Finished in second place as Kyle Peacock is gonna have a few of those donuts then as he hits the wall on the outside while doing donuts, so, but that doesn't quite matter. He's finished it and he's run out ahead of everyone. The car number 1 finishes number 1 one more time. Chris Cornett finishing that stage 1, finishes P3. It's Austin Hund doing a great recovery, get back to 4th. So that's going to be the end of the race. In a few minutes time, we should be getting back to the drivers, to those inside that top 3. We could well be jumping with those guys as soon as they're in the booth. We'll be having a chat with those guys and have a little say and have a chat with them about the race. At this point in time, we're not having anybody in that waiting rooms. I wonder if they are interested in coming out to have a chat with us, which I'm sure in a few moments' time somebody should be out there. Anybody from those top 3 drivers, Chris Cornett, Stephen Hines, and Kyle Peacock. Okay, I'll go. There we go. We have top 3 finishers, at least the 2 of them, and it's none other than, we're going to have a look and a chat with Kyle Peacock. Driver car number 1, finishing number 1, and now 2 races in a row in the Cup Series.
Yeah, buddy. How are you doing this evening?
Yeah, great. How are you doing? I'm sure you'd be doing great after that race win, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah. Honestly, Steven, I think his name is, and Chris and all those guys up front, it was super good racing. I know there was a few cautions. I wasn't sure if my tire strategy was going to work out, but luckily, you know, being first, I can get that little jump at the start, and it was just enough to get me by. So.
Yeah, I mean, we saw you not start at the front. You maybe weren't that far away, but still, you know, weren't at the top. And the likes of Austin Hund, and Barker at the start of the race, the top 2 weren't there to be found. So Austin made it back. But what was going through your mind just at the start? Like, you had the chance. You thought that from the start of it, you could go for that race win.
I mean, honestly, I kind of knew I had a fast truck all night. I just had some issue getting through some traffic. And then by the time I got through the traffic, there was like a second gap to the front leading pack. So just didn't really have enough right there. But I mean, honestly, yeah, I felt truck felt good. So I can't really complain.
Fantastic. So, just great. Congratulations. I mean, 2 wins in a row for you. That must feel great.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, sorry. I really like these 1.5 milers. So glad to be away from the super speedways we had to start the first 2 weeks of this season.
Absolutely, and well, that was Kyle Peacock having a chat with us. Great race win for them, 2 in a row. As we should be catching up with Stephen Hines. We're finishing in second place.
What's up?
Hey, what's up? Great second place finish for you. I mean, for most of it, you were fighting and, in fact, challenging for that race win. But in the end, it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, yeah, it was a fun race though. But yeah, started P4, and yeah, I was up there throughout pretty much the whole race. But yeah, Kyle got it, so we couldn't get him at the end. Yeah, a lot of cautions though.
Yeah, a lot of cautions. I mean, what goes through the mind of a driver, really? We saw a lot of cautions under green flag, but one of them, when it was under caution behind the pace car, one of the at the back of the grid happened as well. So how cautious does the driver have to be, even behind the pace car, to not clip up the wall, clip up any driver ahead of them?
Yeah, I don't know what happened at the end of the race there. Somebody got kicked for it, but yeah, apparently you got to keep your head on a swivel at all times because you can wreck, I guess, any time.
Yeah, I mean, with you showing up some strong performances last time and this time around as well, are we expecting you to be at the top next time around?
Yes, sir. Of course, I'm gonna try and get a dub this season.
Absolutely, and congratulations for that second place in a finish. Anybody you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, my parents, my dad watched the end of that race there, and my wife who's been watching. So shout out to them. Shout out the broadcast. Good race.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Great finish. We'll catch you up next week, and we should move up to Chris Cornett now. Just finding out, Chris, finishing up third place, podium. Happy with it?
I mean, I'll take it. I think I had a car to win. I just kind of screwed myself there on a restart where I was starting on the front row. Got black flag for jumping to start. Um, so I had to serve a black flag drive-through penalty, and hopefully I was hoping to get back up there once that caution came out to battle, which I did get back up there. It was just hard to pass when second, third, or side by side, but I was just happy to get around one of them to finish top three. So it's all in all, it's a good points night for Watt Racing for this number 87 Hardy Design Chevrolet. So hopefully I can get another win here shortly.
Definitely. I mean, coming into the season, winning that round one, the confidence wouldn't have been high to get back and pretty much dominate as much as you can, get victories. I'm sure other drivers are there to race, but you must have had that confidence boost and that mind that, okay, I'm going to go in there, win, but just that hasn't been enough the last few rounds for you.
Yeah, most definitely, especially at a restrictor plate, because I love restrictor plates. I always do good. I always run well in them, but coming to the end, I always either get screwed or screw myself. So, but getting that win here in the Truck Series at Daytona was a heavy booster. Was hoping to go back to back when we went to Atlanta, but that didn't turn out right. And then Las Vegas was good, just bad strategy. And then tonight was a good run. Like I said, I was hoping to win, but like I said, just me getting that black flag, jumping the restart, kind of hurt me, which is all on me. You can't be mad at nobody else but me. So hopefully, I can learn from that mistake and move forward, and hopefully not get another one and get another W here.
Well, congratulations on that third place finish. Hope to see you back fighting inside that top three next time around. Anybody you want to shout out before we let you go?
Mom, dad, my kids, wide open throttle for letting me join the Truck Series team. Also, y'all do an excellent job on broadcast. Thank y'all for doing what y'all do, and BMRL for putting this together and having an amazing Truck Series season.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on your finish once again. And we'll talk to you next time around.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for everybody joining
So
in
that,
the
ladies
broadcast
and
today.
gentlemen,
It's been Sean
was
Stam,
the
Stam
end
Studio
of
Network.
this week
Join
with
us
this
next weekend.
this Truck
Penny Pleasers
Truck
Cup,
Series
Gen
race
6 at
here
Iowa.
at Time. We
Thank
did
you
the
so much
race.
for your
We had a
time
chat
tonight,
with all these drivers.
and I will see
so
you next
not
time.
around now.